Hey Angie,
Hey.
we're not on yet. It's not
Oh,
letting me post because it said that it was deleted from Facebook from the woman angler, and it said for me to re-edit it or do something.
that's that thing we have to do periodically. Remember, I have to
Oh,
every so
okay.
often I have to reconnect.
Okay,
Um,
I think it's just for the woman angler. So I'm just going to have it just skip it and go ahead and go live
okay.
cuz I would have to reset it for all of them. It would be a
Okay.
new feed. Okay. I'm going to go live in just a second. I got to redo it. Oh my goodness, we're live. I am so sorry, everybody. I did not realize that we just went live. So, yeah, welcome to Women's World of Fishing Monday Night Takeover. We were having a connection issue for one of the sites, and I did not know that it was still letting me go live on all of the other feeds. So, you know what? My bad. I really apologize. We were backstage right before this and trying to get all of us together. And like a moron, I was like, you know what? I'll go out first while you guys get together and do all of the stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce everybody one at a time. Um, and then we'll get this show on the road. Yeah, it keeps popping up error messages. So, for those of you that were trying to watch on the Woman Angler and Adventure, if that's usually where you watch it, if you go to Angie's Facebook page or the Women's World of Fishing regular YouTube page, you should still be able to see it because it's not going to allow us to stream there tonight. Um, so we do apologize for that. So we're going to go ahead and introduce the girls. If you didn't get a chance to read the thumbnails for this show, we're getting ready to head out to Ray Hubbard in Texas for the opener for the Lady Bass Anglers Association. And so we're going to see if we can predict the tournament. I don't know how much all of the ladies are willing to say since Pam and Angie are competing against each other. Me and Dana are going to be competing against each other. So we'll see how tonight goes. First, I'm going to go ahead and bring Angie on, who you guys know very well. Hey, Angie.
Hey. Hey, real quick, sorry about the issue with the streams tonight. I think it's a security thing where StreamYard makes you reconnect your accounts every so often. And we didn't realize prior to that we didn't, or that we needed to do that. So, but I guess it's not going to matter because like next week we're going to YouTube, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah, we'll be streaming specifically from the YouTube channel um, for the Women's World of Fishing page. So, but yeah, that came on and it made it look like it wasn't letting me go anywhere. But surprise. So, okay, next we have got pro Pam Horn on. So, Pam, I'm going to bring you on. Hello, hello.
Hello,
hey,
everybody.
hey,
How are
Pam.
you?
I'm good. Getting excited.
I know, me too. But of course, you're already fishing and stuff. I've been just kind of hanging out. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
I figured you would be. Okay, now we've got Dana Carlson. She is a co angler for the LBAA. Otherwise, she fishes as a pro at home. How are you, Dana?
I'm well. How are you guys?
We're good.
Good.
I'm ready for you.
Good. Let's bring it. Let's go.
I
I'm
knew that
ready.
would. I love me and Dana trash talk probably worse than any two co anglers in the tour. So it's fun. Um,
It's fun.
so me and Dana aren't going to be down there pre fishing. Angie, you guys are going to be down there in a week.
Hopefully.
Well, hopefully.
I'm
But
still
so
waiting
that's
on
not,
a loose end, but yeah, hopefully.
but that's not that far away.
No, it is
Um,
not.
so before you take off to go down there and pre fish, I mean, any first thoughts before we get into the nitty gritty?
Well, for me, I've got a local tournament this Saturday, So all my kind of focus has been on that. And as soon as that's over, I plan to like really, really start digging in and getting kind of
Prepping.
a practice game plan together.
What about you, Pam? Are you kind of waiting?
Well, I have a tournament this Saturday, and I have one Sunday, and then I'll be working through the week, and I will leave Saturday morning about 5 a.m. going by to pick up the battleship, and headed straight to Ray Hubbard.
Nice.
So I'll
What
get the
about
whole
you?
week this year.
Wow. What about you, Dana? I mean, we still
Uh,
have to have some kind of plan,
I,
like,
you know, I'm pretty stickler. I stick to my game plan. You know, and I have a thought in my head already. I already know what I'm gonna do. I already know what I'm gonna throw.
me
And
too.
there's not a lot of question to me about it. I think I can be pretty lethal with my go-tos, and I think I could find them. If they're there, I'll find them.
Well, and
So
like as a co-angler, I mean, we are at the mercy as to where the pro takes us. But I told Angie, I said right before you guys came on, I said, whether we're in 2 inches or 50 foot, I've got a plan. Like
yeah,
that's how I'm kind of my mind frame going in, to this tournament. But
yeah.
I did look it up, and Ray Hubbard right now, the water temperature is 49 degrees. And
It's a
so
little
we're
colder than I thought it was going to be.
me
I
t-
looked it up the other day too.
yeah, and it's colder than what I thought it would be. But then I think we went down there 2 weeks. We went at the end of March. I don't remember what the water temperature was then, but I know that we had a cold front that came in right before the tournament. And I was looking at the weights and stuff and limits between the pros and the co's. There were two co-anglers that weighed in limits both days. Two.
Hmm.
There was not a pro that weighed in a limit both days. Let me double check that. But there was some that got close, a 5 and a 4 and a 5 and a 4, and
Hmm.
we know who those two were, Pam and Pam. So it was a tough tournament.
It was tough.
Are we going to do better or worse this year?
Oh, I think we're going
Collectively.
to do better.
Yeah, collectively.
We've all, Pam, was it your first time fishing that lake last year?
Yes.
Or have you been? Okay. So I think it was a first for all of us.
Most of us.
And so, well, I mean, I know the LBAA, some of the other ladies have fished there before, but for us on the show,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
and so, second time around, we kind of have an idea. We've already got, we've fished it now. Conditions are probably going to be way different. Hopefully better. And that's what I'm hoping for. I don't know about anybody else.
Oh gosh, I'm definitely hoping for that. I mean, I don't know if decisions will be made. I remember that it being really windy and a lot of people stayed fairly close because it was like the ocean out there. It was really choppy and people had
Mm-hmm.
talked about how dangerous it was. So will that play a factor? Will it not? Well, I know who you fished.
That wasn't dangerous.
Well, I remember one of the people that you fished with, and and uh she's used to that. That's her home waters, and
Yeah,
we're talking about Stephanie, and
yeah.
but
She
people
j-
who's
she drives that boat like nobody's business, man.
right,
Point A to point B, she's getting you there
right, and
fast.
and people that are used to that. That's what they do in every tournament that they fish. Probably a
Yeah,
little bit more comfortable,
yeah.
Um, a
I
lot of
think
times,
being I think being that it's 3 weeks earlier, you'll probably see. I've been watching the weather down there kind of over the last month or so, and you kind of see the trend. I mean, I don't know if we'll be to the warm, if we'll be to the tornado season yet. I guess I'm not from down there, so I can't really speak on it, but just the weather trend I'm seeing, I think we might be all right. We might beat that tornado alley, that we were in last year every night.
I hope
I think
so.
we might beat it timing wise, just time of the year, weather wise. Hopefully.
Just remember the tornado hit about that time last year because it hit right before we got down there.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's right.
Pam,
Mhm.
That's
we're
why that
using
marina was
optimism here.
destroyed.
I know.
Yeah,
We're using optimism here in this chat.
well,
We
yeah,
can all
hoping.
be optimistic, but we better hope for the best and expect
Yeah.
the worst.
That's right. Yeah.
we should have like a priest.
Bring your good gear.
We should have a priest that travels with us because we have had some really bad weather that precedes the LBAA. That
As long
like
as it
Yeah.
precedes or it's afterwards.
maybe that's what we should do. We should actually send like a bulletin warning to these places and let them know, like, hey, we're coming. So
Take cover.
yeah, you
Yeah.
guys should have like a a ceremony about 2 weeks before we get there. But because
That's
we've had to reschedule tournaments. I mean, it's been crazy. That's not going to happen this year. We're good. I've
No.
checked the weather too. Unless it hits while we're there, because that's not forecasted yet, we should be good.
I will
Yeah.
say, other than a little bit of rain on our classic on Logan Martin, the weather was really good. So, maybe something happened and now there's a new trend going on.
We're turning the tides.
Yeah.
Well, so when it comes down to like certain decisions, like you have to pick like, okay, are they shallow or are they deep, or is it structure, fast, slow? Like I know you guys know this, but we do have a lot of people that, that watch that aren't familiar with it. So that's why I'm kind of going, through this. I just don't want Dana and Pam looking at me like we know this. Why you, but there's certain decisions that have to be made as, you're coming up with your plan, and you've got to eliminate water and you've got to pick water so you know where you're going that first morning. And so, as the thumbnail had showed, there are like certain things I'm going to see, if we can kind of see if we're right going down there based on what we know now and, what we knew figured out from last year. And so this was kind of the first one that I came up with, because one of the first thing we're all kind of thinking is, okay, what are they going to be as far as the staging of the spawn? And for those of you that aren't familiar with it, the spawn is the reproductive kind of, oh gosh, I don't even know, because it's such a huge thing that, Angie and I covered. But it's a period of reproduction for a bass, and there's multiple stages of it that really impact how we fish. So, where do you ladies think we're going to be when it comes to shallow, deep, transition, spawn? And I didn't really mean 50 foot of water. I'm going to be lost if I'm in 50 foot of water. So what is your all's thoughts on that? Right now with the water temperature 50 degrees, I'm assuming we're going to go up a little more than that.
Oh, you said it was 50? I thought you said it was 40.
Well, yeah, it's 49 right now.
Oh, well, that's even better.
Hey, we have some comments coming in before we answer that. Let's see. Stephen Pellerin said the MLF Bass Pro Tour is fishing Lake Fork this week, which is only an hour east of Ray Hubbard. So they did have some pretty big wind there this afternoon. So
I watched the live on that.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not for any information or anything like that. It was just for fun.
For fun.
Just for
Richard Faircloth off Outdoors is watching.
Oh, hey,
and
Richard.
said it was in the 50s and got up to 54 the other day here on Toledo Bend.
Nice.
Stephen was also like, Barbara, you're on. Oh, hey, Ashley. So, what do you guys think?
I don't think any of us want to give away any secrets.
And I get that. I do get that. But we can give a little bit of information as to what we think.
So as an outsider, I can I'll chime in kind of from an outside perspective, really. I think at this point of March, last year we were down there, we seen fish on beds, we seen fish that were already spawned, we seen fish that hadn't even transitioned yet. So I'm thinking your game is going to be planned for all of the above. Plan for still spawning fish, you know, in transition, plan for on beds, you know, plan to find, you know, snatch up the ones that have already spawned. I think it's pretty much an open book. Be in the water's 50 degrees. I mean, it can go either way. Last year it was crazy, but there were fish caught on all of the above. Everybody caught them, you know, off beds, you know, just roaming, transitions, you know, you name it. So I don't think anything's really out of the question. And that's, you know, from somebody who's not there fishing it and, you know, who doesn't fish it, you know, really ever, but, you know, once, a couple times a year, maybe. That's what I'd be planning for. That's what I'll have ready is everything. You know,
And I agree with that. I think it's going to be like all different kinds of stages, but I mean, my guess would be the majority of them are going to be pre-spawn. I think a lot of fish are probably going to be moving up shallow. And you know where they're going to kind of start to be thinking about it, but I don't think that the water temperature is going to be this low when we get there. I think the shallower water by the time that we get there, and I guess I don't know, because I think of how ungodly like cold it is here, and like they're in Texas, even if it's further, you know, north, I would think that the water temperature would have to be between 55 and 60 by the time that we get there in the shallow, maybe not the whole lake, but it would have to be warming up. And so I think they're going to be probably moving up, pulling off, but in the late morning, early day, I just think that some of those fish are going to start moving up. Maybe on beds, maybe not, but I think probably the bigger females will be off, you know, out deep. Not deep, but I don't think they're going to be sitting on beds. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Well, I think last year it was more in the pre-spawn than it was anything. I mean, there were some
Right.
on beds, yes, but I think the majority of them hadn't even moved up last year. But if that water gets up over 55 and close to 60,
yeah,
it's going to be a fun tournament.
yeah,
Yeah.
It looks like we're going to be seeing air temperatures range anywhere between 65 and 49 while we're there. So
yeah.
I'm just,
It
you know,
it
anything
was
can
79
happen.
down there today.
I saw that. Yeah.
It was almost 80. Yeah. So I
And
mean,
they're
it don't
getting
take
ready to
long.
have weather in the 30s,
Yeah,
like here in a
unfortunately.
couple of days.
But as long as
It-
it doesn't stay that way, like for 3 days or more,
Right.
that water should maintain that temperature that it's at
Yeah.
now. I know up
Yeah.
here, I mean, we can have 2 nights of below the 20s, and it doesn't do anything to the water. But you get that 3rd day or more than that, and that temperature is going to drop at least 5 to 10 degrees.
Yep.
I think that whoever's willing to get their boat beat up a little bit in the late afternoon, like late morning, early afternoon, whoever is willing to get their boat beat up, I think that's who's gonna do really well.
You mean with the wind? No. Okay.
Shallow.
I see.
No, she doesn't.
No, not wind. No, not wind.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna just
Hey.
say this: I'm in the battleship, and we can go 6 inches, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Nice.
That's right.
Well,
That's
and
right.
because I kind of thought that, you know, last year, but I mean, I don't know anything about the lake, but you know, I think it was my instinct from coming from Kentucky because, you know, we're so far. Oh, we're so far
Oh,
behind.
you scared me.
We're was that really loud?
It scared me.
We're so far
Holy buckets.
behind where Texas is. Like literally last week, we got a day a day where it was in the 60s, and I just couldn't help myself because I could actually go outside, and there's still ice on the ponds. The water temperature's in like the mid 30s, and so I just envision like Texas. Well, you know, like, does your water temperature ever go below 70? Like, that's just what I kind of think. And so, me being really naive going to Texas last year, that was just my initial thought was, well, whoever's boat gets beat up in the shallow water the most is going to have, you know, the best tournament. And I thought that, you know, just based on the difference in where I come from. But now, I kind of think the same thing. Um, I just don't know how the fish can't move up. We're like right on that brink. I don't know how they couldn't be moving up at some point during the day. So, I mean, if
Well,
I was them, I would want to get warm.
one of the things we deal with up here is the dirtier the water, the warmer it gets. And if
Mhm.
they've got flats to get on and the dirty water, that's where they're going to be, especially if they're in that transition period.
See, I didn't know that.
Our water gets so dirty that the fish will literally sit there with their noses to the bank. And I mean, if you don't throw it on the bank and bring it in the water, you're missing the mark because
Yeah.
they're sitting there, especially with the water going up and down like it does. If it's coming down, they know the bugs, the crawfish, and all that are crawling back in the water.
Yep.
And that's the only place that they can see.
That makes sense. You know, I know that like we have really dirty water here, and I know it really helps to position the fish, and that dirty, muddy water and stuff. But I didn't know that it warmed up, um, you know,
Well, you think about
faster.
it as in black and white. A black truck heats up faster than a white truck. You put your hands on a white truck when the sun's beaming down on it, it's not hot. You put your hands on a black truck, it's burning up. It's
That's
absorbing
true.
that heat.
That's true. Interesting. So, well, I mean, we'll see. That's kind of my gut feeling for that part. So, okay. Structure. Now, when we went down there last year, and if you guys remember, Pam Martin Wells even said this when we were down there. You know, she said we all read the same literature, we watched the same videos, and so and that's true because the information that's written up about Ray Hubbard, it does say the same things over and over as far as the rocks and the swings and the docks marinas and stuff like that. But I don't remember seeing that much other than that outside of those areas. I don't know if you guys did. Like, did you see a whole lot of like really defined points or like sunken bushes or trees or, you know, like I didn't see anything else other than those things. So
What I thought was interesting, being my first time there, was the amount of, unfortunately, trash up on the banks. And I was like,
So
hey, there could be a
gross.
nest under there. I mean, it's cover, you know?
Oh,
I
sure.
caught a wallet pre-fishing. I caught a wallet.
Nice.
Money?
Somebody's driver's license, insurance
Oh, wow.
card, debit card. I called the cops and gave the wallet to the cops because I'm like, but yeah, I agree. It was dirty. Oh man, that I've never fished anything like that.
Hmm.
Man.
Crazy, you know.
I hope the person was still alive.
It was dirty.
Yeah.
That was my fear when she pulled it into the boat. I was like, don't throw back over there.
Yeah. Oh, well, I wasn't thinking about catching them. I was thinking maybe it at least floated away. But yeah, that would have really sucked. What did you catch
Yeah.
at Ray Hubbard? Well, he weighed about 155 pounds.
Oh gosh. Yeah, no, it's that kind
Soaking
of
wet.
dirty. Yeah,
Right.
right.
Oh,
That's so
wow.
wrong.
Yeah, that really is. Sorry, guys. We get a little bit, we're
Oh,
just
you gotta
getting
have a little
excited.
you gotta have a little humor in it.
That's true. But yeah, I think.
Sorry, guys. We get a
Whoa.
little bit.
That's so weird. Sorry.
What was that? Oh, was that okay?
That was you talking. You were
Well,
talking on the
I knew that it was me, but I thought it was feedback in my earphones.
No, it was from me. Sorry.
Oh.
I'll stop
That's
messing.
But yeah, I know that when it comes to like the super shallow water, I don't even know what's back in super shallow water. I did see like a little bit of it, but I don't remember there being like rocks and stuff back there. So I think that the whatever structure is in the shallow waters, I think is going to be a factor. And I don't think you can ever rule out on Hubbard, because I know all those people aren't lying. I don't think you can ever rule out the rocks in the marinas. You know, how could you rule those out? Everybody talks about them. You know, am I wrong?
Yeah. They catch big fish in the marina. There ain't no question about that.
And
Mhm.
rocks attract heat as well. So
Right.
Yeah.
You guys are like, I don't know. I've never fished before in my
No, I
life.
was just waiting on Angie to say it. I wasn't going to say it. I was waiting on Angie to say
You guys have like, I've never fished. What?
it.
You know what, Stephanie, if you are watching, I changed my mind. I really need you tonight. Everybody's afraid to say anything.
Well, I know one thing we talked about watching the Major League Fishing today on Lake Fork. The one optimistic thing I can get out of it, I know their weather is a little bit off, just like we're expecting when we get down there. It affected their quantity of fish, but it did not affect their quality of fish.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some really big fish caught, but just not as many. I mean, 2 days you're catching 5 fish, but they were good fish.
Right.
Well, I think one of the things that really stuck out to me was when Jacob Wheeler was like, well, I just can't quit catching them. And he had 102 pounds, and then they just stopped weighing his fish because he was already in the championship round.
Yeah.
And the next
Yeah.
person behind him, Ish Monroe, had 52 pounds, and some people had like 20 something pounds. And so the quality that he was on was just unreal. But literally 102 pounds, and the next person behind him had 51. I mean,
And I think he only caught what, 39 fish?
I don't even think he had close to that.
It may have been more than that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he
But
had
that's
a
the
lot
thing.
less
He was
than
catching
that.
the quality.
He was catching huge fish. And but then I also thought that it was interesting as to the baits that were being thrown. It definitely seemed like they had all narrowed down the baits, and it all depended on area. That's what it looked like to me. So I would think that while Lake Fork and Hubbard, they're what, an hour and a half apart, give or take. I don't really know. I'm totally guessing. Um, but I would think that they probably um, would fish somewhat similar. You know, they have to. But I don't know.
I would say probably Ray Hubbard's a little bit behind Lake Fork because Ray Hubbard's got the river system that comes into it. So
Now, there's a factor that we haven't talked about yet. Of course, I don't know anything about it, so I don't really have anything to say about it other than that might be a factor. Okay. Oh, Angie, we're getting kind of behind on the comments. I'll get the next one up if you want to go through the comments real quick.
Yeah, Ashley was sharing us some details about how her tournament went. It was her first one. Unfortunately, zeroed.
Oh,
But it was a tough tournament. Only 5 weighed-in fish out of 27 boats. So there you
nothing
go.
to be sorry about in that.
No. The water was 44. Yeah. Ashley said, I think you all got a good chance on structure that's near the Bass Highway, the channel swings, flats, points, riprap, laydowns. Everything is a possibility right now. Every bass is
Right.
different.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing is no matter where you go, there's opportunity.
Mhm.
We be throwing completely different things. You could be on a completely different piece of structure. So that's the joy in it is just my recommendation. Pick your favorites, pick your strengths and go to town.
Yep. Totally
Yep.
agree.
That's
Mine
all
is
you
do
can
the
really do.
opposite of whatever I think I should do.
Stop it. You know.
You
You
know
know.
what to do. Just don't, like I remember when Pam Ridgel was on the show, and I remember how we were really I was really surprised when she said, I can't get in my head. She's like, that's when I got to stay out of my head. And I was kind of like, you get in your head? Like, you're Pam Ridgel. And then when Pam Martin Wells came on the show, and she had said that, like, one of the days, and I forget what tournament it was, but she didn't have a fish by 10:30. And she was just like, I really had to stay focused. And she was talking about not getting in her head. And I'm like, but you're Pam Martin Wells, so like,
I think that was the last day of the classic.
yeah, it might have been. And so, like, go easy on yourself. Just do, like, what you're doing. You keep, like, don't, what I mean? We've talked about that so many times. Don't get in your head.
I think
But
half
then,
my problem is like Saturday we fished a table tournament on Table Rock. Of course, I had boat issues, so that handicapped us right off the bat. But we caught 2 quality fish and ended up with 5.25, I think. And I'm like, well, we're already like a duck out of water because of the boat, but
right.
we made do and ended up with the 2 fish, and it was a struggle for a lot of people. Now we had 2 bags weighed in over 20 pounds. One of them, the biggest
Wow.
bag, was almost 26 pounds with a 9-pound keeper with a kicker. And a 9-pounder on Table Rock is unheard of. I've lived here
Wow.
for 6 years and I've never heard of anything over a 7 being caught out of Table Rock. So it was just a timing thing.
Right place,
Yesterday
right
morning,
time.
oh yeah, and these guys have, they've never really just blown it out of the water, but their bag of fish is the biggest bag of fish that's ever been weighed in that club. So
Wow. That's
um,
insane.
yesterday we took off with our local club here in Northwest Arkansas, and my partner and I shut down on a spot. Dana, you might remember it. And within 15 minutes, we had our first 4 fish in the boat. I mean, just bam, 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 bam.
Nice.
And
fun.
we left there. We caught one more on another spot, and then another one way up the lake. And my partner's asking me how you think we did, and I'm like, well, we might have 10 pounds, maybe. We had our team limit, but we only had 3 apiece. And I know how the guys are in our club. One of them was my brother, and at 1
Who you
o'clock he
always
sends me a
gotta
message.
contend.
1 o'clock he sends me a message and says, "Y'all catching them?" And I was like, "Okay, he's either blown it out of the water or he's struggling too." And I hope he's struggling too. But in my mind, I'm like, "They're crushing them. They're crushing them. We're not doing good. We're not doing good." I handed my sheet in to our tournament director, and he's like, "Well, y'all are in the lead." And I was like, "What?"
Wow.
With 10.8, we were in second place, finished yesterday. So
Nice.
13-13 was first, and then us in second. So I convinced myself all day long that I'm not doing good, and then usually it turns out to be vice versa. So
You
Yeah.
never know.
I do the same thing.
You just got to go fishing. I tell myself
Mhm.
every day, I'm just going fishing.
Yep.
That's it.
And
Yeah,
that is
it's competition, and there's there's everything to it, and it's exciting. But at the end of the day, like that experience in that tournament, and just even that day being out, being able to be fishing,
mhm,
whether you get skunked. I've been skunked many times.
me too.
Killed it a couple of times. So it
Right.
just you
I
just got to find the optimism in it always. Like
I
you're
think
fishing.
I
Heck,
think by the time that all the prep work is done, the traveling is done, the pre-fishing is done, and all of the work is done, I think by the time that, you know, the Star Spangled Banner is sang and we're all waving and saying, "Don't talk to me until we get back," and like that's when it's time to just and go fishing, just like you said. Because
hold on tight.
yeah, that's why we do everything else that we do is to get those 8 hours, you know. And so it is
Yeah.
supposed to be about having fun. It can be really frustrating at times, when you lose that fish, or whatever, but you got to shake it off. There's others in
Yeah.
there sometimes.
well, I think the prep work is for the birds. I'll do it 14 times. I'll tie on baits and go back. No, I don't want that bait. I'll tie this one on. I'll tie on 3 different baits on one rod before the tournament. So
Yeah.
Really?
yeah.
Not me. I'm like, I want
And
this
then
on this.
9 times out of 10, I'll wind up with the original bait I had on there. So,
Probably because it's your confidence.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Always. And you know what? That's what it's about. Like that's if I learned anything in the couple years I've been bass fishing is just pound the crap out of your confidence because
Mhm.
Pam, anybody knows Pam, that girl's fire, what her go-to, what she's good at throwing,
Oh, yeah.
but
You'll be
we all
happy to
gotta
know I caught a fish on a spinner bait yesterday in 42-degree water.
because that's why you're the
Really?
bomb. That's why you're the
I was so
bomb.
happy.
And
I was so happy.
that's why spinnerbait, that lady, she's it, man. 2 feet, 6 inches, 40 feet, whatever. She'll get them.
Well, and I think that once you're in tournament time, like that's when it's like, okay, confidence baits. But like, when we always say fun fishing, and then people are like, well, aren't you having fun other times? Like that's kind of what I'm always getting that kind of, question like, well, if it's not fun all the time, why are you doing it? And I say, well, no, we call it fun fishing when we're not in competition, because when you're in competition, you're focused on that. But when we're fun fishing, that's when I'm trying the new stuff, maybe something new that I received or something new that I bought, or, but once it's tournament time, it's my tried and true old faithfuls, new faithfuls, if they've turned into that for me. because I have some places that I go locally that I know have nice quality fish, even if there's not, if there's a pond that there's not a lot of them. I know there's some big fish in them. And that's where I try the stuff that I'm turning into my, my old faithfuls for tournament time. But it's just, you got to stick with what you know during tournament time, I think. I don't know if everybody does it. Okay.
Hey,
Oh,
real
go
quick,
ahead.
sorry. We did go live to my my personal page, so that's good. But there were some comments on there.
Yeah, it was Woman Angler and Adventure it didn't go to.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Lucretia says that she loves your TikTok videos, Barbara.
Thank you, Lucretia. I appreciate that. They're special.
Charlotte Frazier's watching.
Hey,
She's
Charlotte.
probably trying to get some intel.
Tell her to stick around because I'm doing a surprise giveaway at the end.
All right.
I haven't mentioned that yet. Dana's not allowed to win. No competitor,
Why?
co-angler's allowed to win. I'm totally kidding.
Oh,
Because you're competing against me.
well, I hope to. We'll see how it goes.
Well,
Charlotte's
Megan.
still watching.
Who?
So Charlotte is still watching, she says.
Megan, who is one of our new members, she's going to be a co-angler from Texas. Super sweet girl, met her on TikTok, and I had sent her this pack of baits. Maybe a week and a half later, she caught her personal best on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm throwing in that exact bait, actually. I thought she was going to be on tonight. So I was going to do it for her, but I'm still going to do it. Okay. So fishing fast or slow? Now, granted, I'm sure it's going to be a mixture of both. But what do you guys think about that?
Ashley actually had a comment about that. She said, I think whoever wins will fish fast until they figure it out, then buckle down, slow down, and get to work.
That's a great plan. You can't, I mean, nobody could dispute that. That is a great plan.
I think the good thing about us all being there last year and then going back this year is I know we all left out of there kicking ourselves. Why didn't I do this or why didn't I do that? So this year we're coming back with a new plan of, adapting a little bit better probably. I know I am anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of things that I didn't do that I wanted to do but just didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm an open book this year. We're going for it.
I think it's definitely different when you've fished a place before versus the first time. No matter if you're a co-angler or a pro, it definitely makes a difference. Like and Dana, I'm sure you are too. You're going in with more of a plan this time, like more prepared, more confident, because it's like, okay, well, I know some of the places I could more than likely end up, and I know, like you just have more of an idea. And I think,
Definitely.
yeah, knowledge is power.
I mean, you spend 2 days out there, you get to learn the layout, of the lake and, kind of what you're working with. It's hard when you have minimal time, like I said, to get out there and pre-fish and kind of learn everything. But I took a lot from last year. I learned a lot, saw pretty much every aspect of the lake, so I don't think there's really anything that'll catch me by surprise. Maybe if maybe if I were to to draw this one. Maybe I might see some surprise things, but other than that, I've seen it all. So I'm ready for it. And like I said, you were talking about trying new things, X, Y, and Z, and I'm a little more closed-minded to it. I'm kind of on a mission. I got these two baits, and I'm gonna throw those two, and I want to see what I can do with that. South to north. I want to see if I can
the only way
pull
that I'll try something new
some
on
good
this,
studs out of it.
yeah, the only way I'll throw something new in this tournament is if I'm getting my butt kicked from the pro and they give it to me, or I've got something similar. I only throw something
Yeah.
way out of my comfort zone during fun fishing time.
That's
where
why
Yeah.
I own 20 pounds of Senkos now.
Because they're the greatest thing ever.
Oh,
Because they're
Pam,
the greatest thing on earth.
I'm gonna send you a screenshot when we get done. And you're gonna fall in the floor when I show you what I've got to show you. I bet you I have $3,000 worth of them, like sitting right behind me, and I'm not kidding. Like literally,
I own 20 pounds of Senkos now. I did not own that many last year.
That's awesome.
I've probably got
That's the
just as
greatest
much,
thing
if
ever.
not more. Well, what's your favorite color, Dana? Oh, you don't have to tell me now. Yeah, never mind. I just realized how stupid that was. What I was going to say is I've got them in every color and every size, and I would bring them to you at the tournament and give them to you after the tournament. But
after
well, duh, I'm not stupid.
You were no.
We're Buy a Bass Pro Shop. You can buy your own for the tournament.
Oh, absolutely. If that Daiwa bag I carry, believe me, is packed full of Senko.
I have no doubt. And you're right.
Yep.
Senkos, there is not a lady on this tour that don't have a mess of them in her boat. I guarantee it. I could be wrong.
If you're a co-angler and you're not throwing a wacky Senko, you're out of your mind. I agree. That's where it's at. It is.
Well,
I can only say that because I've fished the back of so many boats, and I've co-angled a ton,
right.
And I do it. I could go out and do the pro side of things, but I do it because I like to get the experience, and I like to see. I like to test myself. Like, okay, these are my strengths. This is what I'm really good at in bass fishing. Okay, let's test that. Let's test the theory. Can we prove a truth? And I go out there and I fish the back of the boat. And I think last season I only got 2 butt kickings out of the whole season, which is pretty stellar. And a wacky rig is always in my hand. Always. I always have a spinning rod and I always have a bait caster.
Well, I'm only going to correct one thing, is I think that every co-angler should have one tied on. And I'll have one tied on. It's not going to be my go-to.
Yeah.
It won't be my go-to.
Those 5-pounders are still swimming out there then. I'm just saying. We'll see. I've seen it. I've seen it personal experience. I've watched it. I've fished against people. My partner for the BFL, I got teamed up with this great guy fishing, caught his 5-pounder. I watched him catch probably 60 to 70 fish in front of me. He literally had a limit in 6 minutes.
I believe it.
And then I watched him fish the hole, probably pull 60 to 70 fish out of it, throwing, he went through 10 different rods. And finally, by this point, we're 2.5 hours into it. And he's like, you go ahead and you can cast up over there. 1 second cast, I believe it was, that 5-pounder. I pulled right out of that hole that he'd been fishing for 2.5 hours straight. And then the next day, his co-angler, then the next day, his co-angler did the exact same thing. He was in the fish in the front, just kind of all flustered or whatever. He's like, I just threw that wacky out there, just let it sit there, and 5-pounder. So I've seen
I
it
know.
a lot.
Yeah, and I've caught lots of fish, on
Yeah.
Wacky Rig Senko. It is one of my favorites. Like
Yeah.
I love that. But
It's fun.
I have some other old faithfuls that will definitely be tied on, and I'll get to all of them, unless something is just killing it, and I don't want to pick anything else up, you know.
Yeah.
That'll be kind of, my I don't know, we'll
I
see.
try to stay open-minded, but that's just one thing. I'm just kind of in my little shell.
And that, you know
Like,
what, and that's okay. I mean, every angler is different,
yeah.
And we'll see how it pans out.
I
The
think I'm probably so particular too, because that's just my comfort, back
Sure.
home, and like I'm just somewhere so new, and I'm like, well, if it does it back at home, it's got to do it here. I mean,
Right.
would only make sense, bass or bass.
Right. If it does it in Minnesota, by God, it's got to work in Texas.
That's right. That's right.
I think. Well, what do you think, Angie and Pam? You're being awfully quiet. They're like,
My
look at
kind
the
of
time.
my kind of go-to is slower, and so whoever wins will probably be fishing fast.
Angie, we need some optimism in you, girl.
You know what? She's going to
and
start going to a tarot card reader before a tournament.
Yeah.
And I didn't even answer the question. So if it were me fishing the boat, I would say slow. I would be fishing slow, definitely. Go ahead, Pam. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, I think probably slow to medium, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really gonna get like a good fishing for fast until it gets up into the 70s, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're looking at if they're on the beds, you're gonna have to fish slow to catch a bedding fish.
Yep.
So I'd say probably slow to medium.
I'm saying a moving bait. Not top water, not a spinner bait, but I think it's going to be a moving bait of some type.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. So,
And you can fish a moving bait slow. I mean, right now we're fishing rock crawlers I mean, they're just barely moving in the water. So they're not doing their normal little, but we're catching fish on them because we're fishing them slow.
Right. So
and Saturday at Table Rock, we were catching fish on jigs, dead sticking it. They weren't moving. If you moved it, you wasn't getting bit.
Yep.
If it was just dead sticking it, they'd hit it.
Yeah, and it very well, it could be anything from like dead sticking it to burning a spinner bait. I mean, and that's the thing, is in fishing, you never know. You've got to put together the whole puzzle, and it's where are they? How deep are they? What's the structure? What color? How fast? And people who like aren't into competitive bass fishing, they don't understand how much work, preparation, goes into it, and then how fast 8 hours will go when you have to figure all of that out. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of information.
Isn't that true?
Right. I mean, it's a huge puzzle that you have to figure out to get those limits and to get big fish, and but that's what we love to do. Like, we're not complaining that like, oh my gosh, it's so complicated. We love to do those puzzles. We don't like to get the box puzzles, jigsaw, 1,000-piece puzzles. We like the bass puzzles that I can never figure out. So don't listen to anything that I've said tonight. I am not responsible if you lose it, Ray Hubbard. Those
Yeah.
opinions, those opinions are mine and mine only.
This kind
Trademark
this
it.
kind of plays into Ashley's question. Do y'all like to practice before a tournament or just show up and fish? It's hard to replicate days. So with the constant changes, so what do y'all prefer? Well, of course, I think schedule, if your schedule allows, I think most of us prefer to be able to practice, um, just to kind of try to start putting something together before the tournament. And especially if it's a new body of water that you've never fished before, even if nothing else, just to learn the lay of the lake.
I think that's my issue. I like to be familiar with the water. Very rarely do I go and pre-fish. I may do a lot of graphing and a lot of looking and just checking out different things more so than I would be fishing. Arkansas is probably has the most fly by the seat of your pants fishermen there are, because the weather changes so much. I mean, Beaver Lake, it's a weather pattern lake. You may go to bed on Saturday night expecting 40 degrees in the morning and clouds, and get up the next morning and you got 40 degrees and clouds, and by 7:30 you've got bluebird skies and 65 degrees.
Right.
So there goes that plan out the window. Because
Puzzle.
it fishes completely different in the weather. If you got south wind, they're going to be over here. If you got north wind, they're going to be here. I mean, it's stupid.
It's almost like starting a puzzle that's, like a jigsaw puzzle that's an ocean view, and then the next day you come out and your puzzle that you had started on all of a sudden turns into a forest, and you're like, wait a minute, where'd all my pieces go? It's pretty much like that. It is very true.
And I mean, if you catch them on one thing on Saturday and go back on Sunday, there's 98% chance you're not going to catch them on that.
Yep.
Agreed.
Me personally, I fished the back of a lot of boats. I fished quite a few tournaments. And what I find the common trend to be is people will get so hung up in what they did 2 days ago, 3 days ago, or last weekend. And like Pam said, it changes every day. So me personally, if I've never been on the lake, I will get out and I'll graph, probably not do a lot of fishing. But for the most part, I'm just going fishing every tournament I go to. If I don't have time on the water, I'm still going fishing. It might take me the first hour, it might take me the first 4 hours to figure it out, but I'm going to grind through it and figure out, what they're biting on and where those fish are. I just think pre-fishing gives us a lot of preemptive processes, versus just going fishing. Like Pam said, you do some graphing, you find out where they're staged up, structure-wise, where they're hanging out, and you just let that be, and then you come back, and that's where the work begins. Is, you're in a tournament, but you work to catch those fish hanging out on that structure. Now you got to figure it out. You got 25 minutes to, pick up 6 different rods, figure out what they want, and catch them. That's ultimately, to me, the goal of the tournament. Is I don't need to know everything about the body of water, any of it. I think the work is really when you get to that first spot, jump up and start fishing it. That's where it's at. And that's going to ultimately be the result of what you're doing, regardless of how many days you pre-fished. You fished 30 days prior to a tournament. You could go out there on, more than likely, you'd probably know where fish are, but you could go out there and you could catch nothing. And that's the reality of it always is, you see in the higher ups that people spend this mass amount of time, like the elites, stuff like that. Totally get it. But even those boys, they're spending 3 to 5 days out there, maybe, or three days they get to fish prior. That's it. Because at the end of the day, you're going fishing. Fishing's fun, and fishing's about figuring it out, so just have an idea.
Executing.
Yep. all you need to know, I'm big in weather pattern, pressures, water temp, things of that nature. If you know those fine details, you can do a hell of a job for yourself just in knowing all the factors as well. The
agree.
front, the wind, wind direction, all those things are significant.
Mhm. I
Study your
totally
Google
agree.
Maps. If it's a northwest wind, what structure is going to get a beaten. How are things going to lay out? So I do a lot more of the research, the Google Maps, checking
Right.
that type of stuff, because you can find the shallow structure even on Google Maps.
Yeah.
There's so much other small work that goes into it that I think can really truly help you be a successful angler.
Sure.
And I don't always think it's, the pre-fishing, quote
Right.
unquote. I think sometimes it hurts us a little bit. In a
Yeah.
lot of cases, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've fished a piece of structure for 2.5 hours straight with a boater who swore those fish were there on Friday. They were there Saturday, 4 and 5 pounders, but yet, we just beat that structure up for 2 hours and there wasn't a fish in sight. Me personally, I'd have fished it 20 minutes. Didn't catch a fish, I'd move.
Yeah.
So that's just
Well,
me. That's my 2 cents on it.
and I mean, it's tough. This is the first LBAA tournament since I've started that I have not pre-fished. The first one. So I'll answer that question after this tournament as to whether or not I prefer the pre-fishing.
And I'm
but
not pre-fishing this tournament either.
yeah,
I'm not going to be out on the water either.
yeah. So I don't know. I might prefer to go in fresh and non-biased and just pretend like, oh, I'm just out fishing. Maybe I'll pretend like I'm in Kentucky and not even think that I'm in
Because
Texas.
you are just fishing.
Yeah, I'm
You are
just
just
fishing.
fishing.
Okay,
Hey,
so
ladies, I do have a
Oh.
call I gotta hop off.
okay,
So I'll let you guys continue on. It's been
okay.
awesome. Thank you, Dana and Pam, for joining us tonight. Thanks, Barb,
Yeah.
for doing all the work behind the scenes.
You are very
And
welcome. And next week, Janine Blair, we got on.
oh, nice.
So from Fishionistas.
Very
So
cool.
thanks for hanging out with us.
All right, my
See you,
pleasure.
Ange.
All right,
Okay,
see you guys.
bye. Okay, so who do we have to look out for? Pros and cos.
You go ahead, Pam. You go first.
Don't be bashful. Just
I'll put it this way: I ain't fishing for seconds no more, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
there you go.
Pros, well, we already know who generally is, in the top, who's always, the kind of lethal threat, but
Throw it out there.
I'm for sure going for Pam, hands down.
Pam
That
Martin
girl,
Wells?
no, Pam Horn, come on now.
Okay.
She puts the time in, and it just takes that one good day, that one good bite, just, and I think you can find it, and I think you can definitely be at the top for sure.
It could be anybody at any time.
Absolutely, and that's why I say, head down, just fish it and have fun, and that's all you can do. Co-angler, Sherry Jacks is always a big threat. Everybody knows that. I know a couple of our stellar co's aren't fishing this year, which is kind of a bummer. So I don't know a lot of the. Well, Dana's not fishing this year.
Raybon?
Yeah. So I know there's a couple girls that aren't that I'd throw on that list, but like you said, it's anybody's game. But I'm rooting for Pam.
Oh, well, heck yeah. I mean,
all season.
Things can change on the turn of a dime.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer. When you work for it, it'll come. It'll come.
Well, sure.
It might take you a couple years. It might take you a couple months, but one day it'll just be glorious and awesome.
I just have a sneaking suspicion.
Yeah. Her and that gray machine, man. Or silver,
Well,
whatever it
I'm
is. I
talking
think it's
about
gray.
I'm talking about specifically for Hubbard. Specifically for Hubbard, I have a sneaking suspicion about Pam Ridgel.
Yeah, I could see. You know what? That's the thing is, I could see anybody taking it.
Right.
But
I just
But look
have a
what she come in
sneaking.
with day one last year, 17 pounds on day one.
Yep.
right.
But she knows that, like, she's from Texas, and it's Pam Ridgel, and she was consistent all year. And actually, well, let me go ahead and throw out my co-angler. Of course, Sherry Jacks. But you know who scares me to death? There's two. You can never, ever be comfortable with what you weigh in until they've crossed the stage. Like, if you weigh in before then, I'm always like, looking for them. Evil Hawk.
Diana and Brooke.
Evil Hawk. Oh, well, yeah, Brooke too, actually. She's just newer, so I don't think about her as much because she's new to me. I just started fishing against her. But Evil Hawk and Hall. So Diana Eaglehawk, for those of you who might not be familiar with them, and Cassie Hall, they're two best friends, and they're like powerhouses, sweet as can be, but tough on the water. Yeah. So those three, Sherry Jacks, Eaglehawk, and Hall. It could be any of us, but those girls are just, they might put them in their pockets before they go out fishing, and they're like, here's my 5-pounder, here's my 6-pounder, and put them in the live well. I don't know what they do, but they're as consistent as anybody I've ever seen from the back of a boat, So those are my guesses. What do you think, Pam? You said for pro.
I mean, we all say Pam Martin Wells, and I love her to death, and I give her utmost
I said Pam Ridgel.
I want to grow up to be just like her one day. But and I hope she doesn't take this in the wrong way, because I mean it with the utmost respect.
She's a competitor. She understands.
We kind of leave Pam Ridgel to the side. And to me, in my mind, I think of Pam Ridgel as the rattlesnake. She's going to sit over there until you get close, and you're going to hear that rattle go off. Because she can come back with a nasty bite. I mean, look what she did last year. 17 pounds on the first day. We didn't see that coming.
No.
I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No, and Pam Ridgel only lost by, she lost by a couple of pounds. Her second day, she didn't have a limit on day 2.
Yeah, she had a bad day 2, but she had a rattle going on the first day.
But I do, and here's the thing, is like, Pam Martin Wells, Pam Ridgel, all of us on the tour, we're competitors. We don't take that stuff personal. If anything, Pam Martin Wells takes that as a daggone compliment. She knows we all are just like, what's Pam got? Same things with Sherry and Cassie and Diana Eaglehawk. I look forward to the day when people are just like, oh God, what Barbara got? I just ain't there yet.
Let's be real though. Everybody would want to see someone come in there and take that first spot.
Yes.
Mad respect to all of them. All the Pams, everybody that finishes in the top.
Yes.
But me personally, I want to see the 4th, 5th, 6th man come in, and I want to see them up at the top. And that's just because that's my favorite. I'm always about cheering on everybody. I don't care you're my competitor or not.
Right.
But I'd like to see the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th guy come in there and put a stomp into it.
Both the Pams respect that. That's competing, and she knows what it's like to win.
Well, clearly.
And everybody loves a good underdog story. You know, that's why there's so many movies made about underdogs. Like everybody loves a good underdog story. Um, but
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
Hubbard is, you know, we're probably looking at possibly a tough tournament, and you know, I just can see it being a Pam Ridgel kind of tournament. You know,
Yeah.
Well,
could
you
be
can't
totally
count out
wrong.
Alyssa Johnson either. She's from Texas.
Yeah,
Yep.
Indiana.
Yep.
She's
I
best
mean,
friends with Pam Ridgel.
well,
Yep.
and Pam, you did really good in that tournament. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot
That's
of
what I'm
the
saying.
right. It's just it'll be so interesting. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait that we're getting ready to go. It's been a
Yep.
long winter,
And I
guys.
mean, I think day one, Sherry weighed in 12 pounds or something for 3 fish. I mean, that's we had 3-4 pounders on day one.
Sherry, yeah, Sherry and Diana Eaglehawk, they both had limits both days.
Ugh,
And Sherry Jacks
big fish.
with 3 fish had 12.44. And
Time to get to work. That's what that's telling us.
Yeah.
It's time to get to work.
I'm telling you,
That's a nice bag of fish right there.
I'm going to go with my theory that they put the 5-pounder in the right pocket and then the 6-pounder in the left pocket, and then one behind their life vest or something. And then they just put them in the live well when they get out. Something like that. They're just too good.
Right. Right.
Oh, I'm so
I
excited
think
to see everybody.
really the weather conditions being like they are and not really just in a straight out is gonna make it a little bit more of a even playing field for everybody.
We'll see. I
hope.
don't know. Stephen Pellerin, he actually said thoughts on forward facing sonar. I don't know how many of the girls have that, honestly.
And I think it's a wonderful tool, but I think when it comes to spawning and shallow water,
Yeah.
it's gonna be useless.
Right.
I know
Right.
Robbie has it.
I know Steph has it, but I mean, she's only fishing bull shoals. But
Yeah.
I'm sure some of the other girls have it.
Yeah. So
But
I'm not 100% sure other than those who all has it. So
I mean, I'll
I
have
mean,
live scope on the battleship, but I mean, last year I didn't even use it. I think maybe I used it one time in Alabama on Logan Martin, but I'm just
Yeah.
not. I'm a shallow person. I literally could put the trolling motor down and go.
yeah.
yeah, Dad, if you're watching, I got to tell on you. He says, you know what? We're good until the motor in the back hits, and then we'll just stop, and then we'll just anchor down.
Exactly.
I'm
There you go.
like, okay, Dad. Gotta love him. Okay. Oh, wait. So this is the giveaway. I'm going to put in one rattle trap. Well, where's the camera? There we go. One rattle trap from Runkle. It's a 1/4 ounce because in Kentucky we got to downsize every single season. And a watermelon red fluke, a small one because in Kentucky we downsize everything. But this is what Megan caught her personal best on in Texas when I sent her these, and it's a 6-inch white Senko. So this is how you're going to win it. And real quick, this is my favorite reel that I have ever had, and I've used some very expensive reels. It's going to be on a $400 rod, if that tells you anything. It's on sale right now for $35. You guys, I'll be giving one away at Hubbard if y'all are nice. But I'm gonna put this in the link for the show if anybody wants to show or wants to get one, because you do need a code along with the coupon link. The way to win this for tonight, the first one to email me. Well, no, we'll do it in the comments. We'll go ahead and do it in the comments tonight. The first one to answer this comment and type it in the show tonight will get this package. Okay. On the count of 3, I'm posting it. 1, 2, 3.
Is this Steph?
No.
Oh,
Deal. Can I answer it verbally?
Yes,
But I can't
but
type it.
no, you gotta write it in so it's time stamped in case anybody complains. I don't
Well,
want.
I can't get on my Facebook right
get
now.
your
I'm on my
phone out, Pam.
I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Nobody's commented yet. So who do you think it is?
Deanna LeBourne.
Yeah, I'll comment. Hold. Oh, I was gonna.
It's not
comment.
Deanna LeBourne. Who?
Alyssa. Who was it?
You guys can't just start throwing out everybody on tour.
Oh, why not? Why can't we? We're on the show.
Yeah, but then that's not fair to people who aren't on the show who don't know everybody.
I don't know everybody.
Well, yeah, that's true. She was on the show. She was the only one that beat either one of them the entire year.
Robbie Hartline.
Yep, you got it. All right, it's going out to Pam Horn.
I thought you just meant for Ray Hubbard. That's what was throwing me off.
Oh, I'm sorry. I probably should have clarified. But
No, but Robbie beat him in Lake Hickory, didn't she?
Yep.
Yep.
Although at Hubbard, oh no, that's the co-angler. Yeah, Deanna LeBourne was third at Hubbard. But Richard, we actually have a comment about this valet. There has been multiple people that have already bought that reel that have loved it. So I will put that information up on the YouTube channel when this gets done, and overnight it has to populate. I will put that information because the link is only, or the sale is only until the 23rd. So you guys will have that too. Pam Horn, if you want to send me your address, I'll get these into the mail to you. I'm so happy.
Texas.
Are you
bring
sure?
It to Texas. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
I can
Pam.
do that.
Yes.
You want to bring my spinning reel?
I
You're
got
the
the
best.
spinning reel.
Thanks.
We're
I
all
also have your
spinning stuff.
spare key.
I forgot it when I was in Arkansas. So
I also have your spare key to your truck.
Oh wow, you guys are like house keys trucks. This really is how
I
close
found it
everybody
the other
is.
day when I was cleaning out the little cubby hole in my truck.
We are a very
What did you
close
find?
bunch.
Your spare key to your truck.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get locked out because I don't think she's coming to Minnesota to get you out or to get you in.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't realize it until last weekend I was cleaning out my truck. I don't clean out that side very often because I'm not over there. So, but I found it.
All righty,
awesome.
well, until Texas, I guess. You guys be safe going down there. I know you've got even longer than me, and it's like 15 and a half hours away. So you be safe.
Hey, Barb, I do got to do some shout outs tonight. So.
Oh, go ahead.
Other than my regular sponsors, a bucket bass, which came in very handy at Ray Hubbard last year. And I'm hoping it doesn't come in handy, but I will have it on standby this year. Hook, line, and sinker. It's proficient. So should have my jersey in before we make it to Ray Hubbard. I'm hoping. Eric's working very feverishly to get it done. I have Hook, Line, and Sinker, the local bait shop here in town. True Faith Custom Lures, a guy that used to be in our club. Love him to death. He makes some very good products. He's also working on some stuff for me for Ray Hubbard. I have a High Ground Apparel. It's veteran owned, veteran operated by my nephew. It's all military based themes on the shirts and stuff. He has hoodies, hats, you name it. I have puddle jumper lures that I'm working with, a part-time job. We make crappie baits. We are dabbling in the bass baits a little bit. I have Wicked Weights, quality tungsten, veteran owned, veteran operated, and Sloan Outdoors. Some very good friends of mine that are here local, but they live over closer to Bull Shoals. Great people, and can't forget H3 Fishing and the Horn family. They helped me out tremendously. And then signed my first monetary sponsor with Heinemann Services. Mr. Corey Heinemann, I worked for him year before last, doing some part-time work as just handyman work. And I've also teamed up with his son, Cohen Duncan, for the Booger Bass Trail this year. And that kid is phenomenal. We went last Saturday. We had boat issues. We had to troll for like 2 hours till the boat decided that, nope, I'm not sick anymore. Let's go. And I mean, it was a struggle. It was brutally cold. The wind chill was probably 23 or maybe less than that. The rods of our eyes never quit freezing up.
And he looked so happy.
He never complained. Never. I sent him a text message the next day just because I was like, I don't want him to feel bad and feel like, oh God, this is what I've got into for the whole year. And I sent him a message and told him, hope you don't get discouraged. And this kid's answer was, that's okay. I know crap happens.
Oh.
He's 15 years old. Never once was like, man, this is a sucky. I mean, nothing. Saturday we fished. Same thing. We come in with 5.25 pounds, 2 fish, and the winners had 4 fish for 25 pounds, almost 26. So,
dang.
I know.
And he was still. He said that they can have this one. We'll take beaver. I mean, just the optimism of a 15-year-old is just incredible. But love Corey and them to death. Super glad to get a monetary sponsor. That helps out tremendously.
Whoop, whoop.
Sure. Absolutely. Good deal. Well, do you have anything else, Dana?
No, I'll thank my sponsors. I mean, I better give them a shout out, I guess, huh? Striker. I get to stop in Hudson on the way down to Texas and pick up my gear for the summer, try that all on and get all dressed up for the season. So that'll be really fun. Striker's been super, super amazing company to work with. So Bass Nut Lures. I'm trying out some new baits for one of my buddies at True North Baits, Geiger's Trail End, my Bass Club, Loon State, just everybody, all my family, all my friends, you guys, all y'all for being so amazing.
That's awesome.
But
well, I know that
that's about it. And
I know that we give each other crap and stuff, but you guys, we really are a close-knit group, and we always have been, and so we're really looking forward to everybody getting to see each other, and we're going to talk trash going out on the water because that's what we do. But just super excited for us to get the season going, and who's going to be on when we come back for Hubbard? Who knows? We'll see how close we got it, but it'll be great to see you guys. I would love that. I would love that.
This one.
That one. Honestly, my perspective has changed so much on things. I honestly, I'm just glad that I'm going. So Dana,
Yeah.
you totally can take it. I don't even care. Just give me part of it since I'll let you have it.
3
give me-
pounds. That's all you get. 3 pounds.
All right, that works for me. It might be the only thing I have. It might be my only weight. So
We're just continuing from the first season. 3 pounds.
There you go.
That's all you get.
Well, thanks for coming on
But-
tonight, ladies. And, seriously, be really careful going down there. And
Yep.
I'll see you guys in Garland.
See you
Alrighty.
soon.
All right.
Thanks,
Good night,
guys.
ladies. Good night, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.